The Bureaucrat, a novel by Levi Sweeney, read by the author. Chapter 3, The Base. Sunday morning, the caucus. Thomas D. traveled to the caucus venue by Uber. When he arrived, there were some PCOs already there, helping to set up. Thomas performed the duties which were requested of him. He helped set up tables and chairs. He swept the floors. He put the snacks he had bought yesterday on a table. He had bought a vegetable platter, some take-out black coffee from Starbucks, some paper cups in which to pour the coffee, and a nice bag of pretzels, which he poured into a plastic bowl from his apartment. Joy Findling, the treasurer, came up to Thomas D. as he was sitting down at a folding table he had set up. It was near the door, and he was getting ready to sign people in using a clipboard. No one had arrived yet, but Thomas knew it was early. It was about 8 a.m., and the caucus was scheduled to start at 9 a.m. They expected between 25 and 50 people to attend. "Thomas," said Joy, "I just got a text from Lisa, the LD chair. She and her husband, who is helping out with the caucus, well, they are now stuck in traffic." Thomas frowned. Uh-oh. Seattle had awful traffic. He did not own a car, though he did have a driver's license, and was an excellent driver. He didn't travel a lot, but when he did have to commute, he often used Uber. "Well, what is Lisa supposed to do when she gets here?" said Thomas. "Usually, the LD chair gives an opening speech," said Joy. "Then another PCO, this year it's Rob, will conduct party business, like keeping track of the voting and filling out sheets and selecting delegates to the Spokane State Convention in April. LDs all over the state are doing exactly that right now on this exact day." Joy looked nervous and a little stressed out. Thomas said, "Well, what will we do if Lisa is still stuck in traffic when it is time for the opening speech?" Joy thought for a moment. She was looking away from Thomas. "Well, the thing is, other than you, Lisa is the youngest PCO in the whole LD, and also the youngest person on the executive board. She's usually good at public speeches because she has a strong, clear voice compared to most of the rest of us. But if she is still late and she can't give the speech..." Joy looked up at Thomas. "Thomas, could you please give the opening speech if Lisa hasn't gotten here yet to give it?" "Let me think about that for a moment, Joy," he said. Thomas thought for a moment. Analyzing. Pros of giving the speech. 1. Can practice public speaking skills. 2. Can engage with my community and be of service. 3. Have a little fun and help everyone enjoy themselves. Cons. 1. Might not be very good at public speaking. I lack experience. 2. Even if I am good at the speech, the caucus goers may still not like it. 3. I may not have fun doing it. Others may not have fun listening to me. Thomas decided that the pros are more compelling than the cons. "Okay," said Thomas. "I'll give the opening speech if Lisa is late." "Thanks. Okay, yeah, it's only 5 or 10 minutes. Can you do a 5 or 10 minute speech?" "I can speak for 5 or 10 minutes." "Thanks. Rob will take over after that to manage the business of the caucus. He's very experienced." Thomas met Rob at about 8:45 a.m. People had begun arriving at 8:15 a.m. "Hello, Thomas," said Rob. "Hello, Rob," said Thomas. Rob had a very clean collared shirt, gray slacks, was bald, had glasses, and a large belly. He was about a head taller than Thomas. He was a PCO, but he worked as an accountant. At 9 a.m., it was time for the caucus to start. Lisa was still not here. She was perhaps still stuck in traffic. By this time, about 30 people had come. "Well, Thomas, could you please give the opening speech?" said Joy to Thomas. She looked tired and nervous. She had gray hair and was overweight. "Of course, Joy. I'll get on the stage," said Thomas. Thomas got on the stage. He went up to the microphone. "Good morning, everyone," said Thomas. "Welcome to the LD caucus. My name is Thomas D., and I am a KC GOP precinct committee officer, a party official. Thank you all for coming and signing in at the front. Our LD chair, Lisa Lionel, is unfortunately a little late. I have been asked to give the opening speech in her place." Thomas stopped for a minute. He had never given a public speech before, not outside of speech club back in college. His job didn't really require him to do a lot of public speaking, since he was technically in a role at Macrozon, which had no formal leadership responsibilities. Was this a good idea, he thought? But then he remembered Socrates from the Republic. He thought, what would Socrates do? Thomas prepared to speak. "All right, everyone," he said. "Before we begin the caucus, I will ask a question. What do you all want to know?" Silence. One person sitting near the back, a thick-set woman with brown hair and wearing glasses, said, raising her voice a little, "Who should we select as the Republican candidate for president this year?" Well, I'm not really sure, said Thomas into the microphone, being very honest. Why don't we all talk about it for a little? The 30 people in the room all nodded and muttered in assent. All right, said Thomas. Let's talk about the leading candidates. Thomas straightened his tie and then said, Please raise your hand if you would like Donald Trump, the Republican frontrunner, to be president. Most of the people in the room raised their hands. All right, said Thomas. Now, raise your hand if you would like Joe Biden, the Democratic incumbent, to be president. Nobody raised their hands. Thank you all, said Thomas into the microphone. Now, we should probably talk about the candidates in the Republican primary. This caucus will elect delegates to the Spokane State Convention, and will then elect other delegates to the RNC convention later this year to choose the 2024 Republican candidate for president. This is a very important function, and we are obligated to get it done. Thomas saw a man in a MAGA hat near the front of the small crowd. Thomas pointed at him. Sir, you are wearing a MAGA hat. Do you support Donald Trump? Yeah, I do. Why? All right. Why do you support Donald Trump? Well, because I think he represents me, and I think he'd be a good president. All right. What do you mean when you say he represents you? What do you mean? Well, I like him, and I guess I'll trust him. He talks straight, and not like other politicians, I suppose. Thank you so much, sir. Thomas saw a man on the other side of the room wearing a DeSantis t-shirt. Thomas pointed at him. Sir, you are wearing a DeSantis t-shirt. Do you support Ron DeSantis? Yes, I do. Okay, why? Well, he did a great job as governor of Florida, and he seems trustworthy and reliable, and I think he'd do a good job as president. Thomas nodded. He said into the microphone, Why do you think DeSantis is trustworthy? Well, he hasn't had any scandals that I'm aware of. He has a good family, he did a great job when he was a prosecutor, and he's good at winning elections. He's even a Christian, like I am. Thank you. Do you agree with the man over there who supports Donald Trump? That man says that Trump talks straight. Do you agree with that? Well, yes, I suppose. But you don't support Donald Trump, is that right? Yes, that is right. Well, why specifically? Do you have any reasons? Well, Donald Trump has a lot of scandals on his record. He's under indictment right now. He could go to jail for many years. This made the man in the MAGA hat upset. Those charges are bogus, Mike. You know that. The DeSantis supporter, whose name was evidently Mike, replied, I'm not sure about that, Chuck. The case looks pretty bad, honestly. Chuck, the man in the MAGA hat, looks like he was about to get angry. Thomas raised his hands. Please calm down, everybody. I think that's enough for now. Thomas thought for a moment. All right, let's talk more about the GOP primary candidates. If you are going to vote for Donald Trump in the primaries, please raise your hand. About 25 people raised their hands. Okay, if you are going to vote for some other candidate, please raise your hand. 5 people raised their hands. All right, let's hear some minority opinions. The 5 people who want to vote for a candidate in the primaries other than Donald Trump, please come to the front of the room. The 5 non-Trump Republicans came to the front of the room. All right, said Thomas. You, sir, who do you want to vote for in the primaries? Well, DeSantis. Said Thomas. And what about you? Well, DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, yes. And you? Nikki Haley. And you? I like Vivek. And you? DeSantis. Thomas pointed to the man who supported Vivek Ramaswamy. You, sir, do you support Vivek Ramaswamy? I guess so, yes. Why? Well, he gives good speeches and he's pretty smart, intelligent. All right, why do you think he's intelligent? Well, he's well educated, he ran some very successful businesses, and he wrote some great books. All of those things are true about Donald Trump as well. Do you agree? Well, yes, that is true. Trump studied at Wharton, and he wrote more books when he was in office. Probably ghostwritten, but well, yes, all those things are also true about Trump. Not to ask a loaded question, but if that's true, what is the difference between Vivek and Trump? The man thought for a moment. Well, to be honest, I guess there is no objective difference. Vivek and Trump think a lot alike, to be frank. Okay, Thomas said. He turned to the woman who supported Nikki Haley. You, ma'am, you support Nikki Haley? I do. I want to vote for her in the primaries. Why do you support Haley? Well, she's intelligent, honest, capable, and I think she can beat Biden. Why do you think she is intelligent? Well, she did a great job in her previous offices, including in the Trump administration, and she's never lost any election she has been in. Why do you think she can beat Biden in the general election? I trust her to do so more than I trust Donald Trump to do the same. Do you think Donald Trump can beat Joe Biden in the general election? No. The other caucus goers didn't like this idea very much. They grumbled and muttered in disapproval. I think that's enough, Thomas said. Thank you. Please go back to your seats. The 5 Republicans went back to their seats. Thomas looked at his watch. It had been 10 minutes. All right, said Thomas into the microphone. That was the opening speech. Just then, Lisa Lionel arrived, walking in through the back and sitting in a seat in the back row. Her husband was with her. Rob Straczynski will take over the caucus, and we will begin caucus business, said Thomas. Thank you once again for coming, everyone. Thomas got off the stage. A few people clapped for about 3 or 5 seconds. Thomas sat down in the back next to Lisa. She had not seen any of the opening speech. Hi, Lisa, said Thomas. You got stuck in traffic? Yes, said Lisa, putting down her purse. What did I miss? Oh, just the opening speech, but Joy asked me to do it because you were late. Oh, great. I'm glad. I always hate that part. Thanks, Thomas. This is The Bureaucrat, a novel by Levi Sweeney, read by the author. This has been Chapter 3. Thank you for listening.